Hi guys, so this is going to be the third Java tutorial that we're going to be doing. So let's go ahead and get started. Click on New Class and we're going to name this class Convert. Now the program that we're going to be making today is going to convert a temperature from Fahrenheit, from degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius. So let's get started coding for that. So we're going to double click on Convert again and open our source code window. Now go ahead and delete everything that's in here and make sure to save it. So the first thing we're going to do, as you might remember from before, the stuff that you always have to do is doing the public class and then name of the file, which is convert, curly bracket, opening curly bracket. Next line is going to be public static void main string square brackets args close and another curly bracket, and then closing curly brackets over here. Now we're going to learn a new type of statement today, which is an import statement. And an import statement goes above everything that you have in your code. So it goes even above this public class void. And what an import statement does is it imports packages, or like basically code that's not already part of Java. And for this tutorial, you should make sure that you've downloaded and installed everything that I taught in the very first Java tutorial on my account. So we're going to import TerminalIO.KeyboardReader, and then we can go ahead and start coding. So the first thing we're going to do is type in keyboard reader equals new keyboard reader parentheses semicolon. So if you programmed before, or even if you haven't, if you've taken algebra per se, there are things called variables, and they exist even in programming. So a variable can store a value to it, and the type of variable we're going to be using right now is called a double. And the way to declare variables in Java is you type which kind of variable it is, so double in our case, and then the name of the variable, so which is Farenheit. Is the first double that we're going to do. And you can, if you want, put an equal sign and put a value to it, like 0, and then put the semicolon, or you can just leave it at that. Now, these two statements might seem similar, but they're different in that keyboard reader isn't a type of variable, it's actually a class, and to make that class usable, to make that code usable that we got from this import statement, we have to sort of declare it as a variable. And the way you can always tell that this is going to be a class versus a variable is that it's usually going to have this equals new and like whatever you put over here, and then these parentheses. So we have our first variable, which is a double, and a double, I'll go into variable types in the next tutorial, but for now, all you need to know is that a double is basically any number that has decimals in it. So one double is the Fahrenheit, and our next double is going to be Celsius. And now we're done with our variables. So the first thing we're going to say is reader, actually, my bad, Fahrenheit will equal reader.readDouble, and then in parentheses, in quotation marks, we're going to put enter the temperature in Farenheit, yep, and then put a colon and a space, and outside the parentheses make sure to have that semicolon. Now what this does is it calls upon reader, which is this right here, to read the double that the user is going to put in, and just so and in the parentheses, this is what we're telling the user, so it's going to print this out, and then whatever the user inputs and then press enter is what's going to go into Farenheit. So now that we have our input, we can convert it to Celsius. So Celsius equals Farenheit minus 32.0, and why I'm putting the 0.0 I'll explain later, times 5.0 divided by 9.0 and semicolon. And then we want to print out what the temperature in Celsius is. So we're going to use that print line, the System.out.println statement that we learned in our last tutorial, and we're actually going to do something a bit different with it. So we're going to put in the equivalent in Celsius is colon space and put another quotation mark, and then outside of the quotation mark we're going to put a plus sign and we're going to type in Celsius. So why we do this is because whatever we put inside quotations is a string literal, and Java prints out pretty much exactly what it says in here. So if we put this variable in here, it will just say Celsius instead of saying the value of Celsius. So we have to close that and then put a plus which says to add it to the end of this, and then put the value of Celsius and make sure Celsius isn't in quotations. Otherwise it's just going to print out Celsius. And then we're done. So go ahead and save that and compile. Oops. So this is what's going to happen if you don't install the what I showed in the first video into this video. Okay, so I went ahead and installed it on this computer. I'm sorry about that because the first tutorial was on the other computer and that already had everything installed. I noticed that I had misspelled Farenheit in here. I had forgotten the H, so if you did that, you might want to check that too. And Celsius, I put a C by accident. So you want to make sure whenever you reuse your variables, you're spelling them right. Otherwise, Java's going to give you an error, or BlueJ is going to give you an error. So we're going to go compile, and it has to say no syntax errors. Once that's done, we can close that, right-click on Convert, and click Void Main, click OK, and, Okay, so that was just a little glitch with my computer. I had to restart BlueJ, but that error shouldn't occur on your computer. So let's go ahead and click Void Main again, and it says enter the temperature in Farenheit. So I'm just going to enter 123. And it gives me the temperature equivalent in Celsius, which is 50.5 repeating. Now just to double check, let's open up a web browser and go into Google. Just size that up so you can see it. Okay, so 123 Farenheit to Celsius. And yeah, Google agrees. It's 50.5 repeating. So that's it for this tutorial, and in the next tutorial we will learn more about variables and how to declare them and which types of variables there are in Java. So see you then.